Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing what would make FIFA a balanced game, because I know that I make a lot of videos in regards to FIFA's gameplay and all the sorts. So people always ask what my definition of a balanced game is, and I'm going to give it right now, right? So the first thing that needs to happen, okay, and this is a thing that's been a thing in FIFA for 5+ installments, okay, the inconsistent gameplay. If they fix inconsistent gameplay, but very big but, okay, they need to give you the best version of the game all the time, not fix inconsistent gameplay and then give you the normal, even the bare minimum normal I would be okay with, but they cannot go down that pecking order and give you the bad version all the time, because then that's going to be a huge problem. So fixing the inconsistent gameplay should be priority number one. I don't know who has to work on that, right, for that to be fixed, whether it's the gameplay guys, whether it's the connection dudes, whether it's the game code. I don't know how this team works, but that needs to be fixed, okay? I'm going to be calm about that situation right now for now. But if FIFA 20 comes out and you guys still have inconsistent gameplay, and no, it is not about internet connection, EA, okay? If you guys still do not fix inconsistent gameplay, then the name calling is going to have to come out, because then you guys are going to be garbage, okay? Because no offense, because the first 2 or so years, right? 2 or so years, I was very calm in explaining these specific things. You guys can go watch my videos back then when I played FIFA 15, when I played FIFA 16. Watch how I explain myself for those videos. Very calm, right? Educational. Listen, these are the differences. You can see this here, that you can see this here, blah blah blah. No name calling, no toxicity, right? But once you get past the 2-year mark and you still do nothing about it 3, 4, 5 years later, that's a huge problem for me, right? Because that basically is telling me that you're garbage, because you consistently sell a garbage game to people every single. It doesn't matter what game mechanics you have. Like even right now with the meta right now, it doesn't matter what the meta is. Your inconsistent gameplay is the main issue, because you fix so many problems. Okay, switching is fixed. Although I do think that with the cursor on top of the player's head, that needs to be changed, or not changed. Excuse me. When you press L1 or LB, it needs to switch to the person with the cursor on their name, the cursor on their head, and that should be the guy closest to the ball, right? And then from the guy closest to the ball, that's when you use the right stick smoothly. The right stick switching is really good when gameplay is good. If you guys are experiencing bad switching, it's because you're most likely playing in gameplay that is below good, right? Which will happen often, right? Let's talk about the current meta, right? The specifics of what would make a balanced game. Let's just pretend, even though it's the biggest issue, let's just pretend the inconsistent gameplay thing is just brushed aside, okay? The meta right now, right, is that people are playing low depth, right, drop back, let the defensive AI defend for them. So basically, like what they'll do is they'll hold a CDM position and just second man press the entire time, because they'll hold that CDM position, because that CDM position, that middle position, is the most vital position in the game. So that's what people are doing, because it works, and you can't really blame people for using something that's working, right? Although you're kind of selling your soul and the general experience of getting the win by doing that, but it is what it is, right? I made a video the other day of one with one drop back, and I switched it after one game because it was overpowered, but I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not even playing the game at this point. Like, I just can't do it. So that's the meta for the defense. People let the defensive AI do the thing, right? For the attack, it's hard to explain the attack because of the inconsistent gameplay. Because in good gameplay, I honestly don't mind the dribbling and stuff. The dribbling is very, very responsive when the gameplay is good. All that kind of stuff, right? Even the speed of the game is great. So that's what I'm saying. That's the main thing they got to fix, right? But let's just say it from a general experience, right? From a general experience. On the attack, right? The drag touches and the general dribbling, that happens when the gameplay is bad. If it's not bad, they very rarely do the drag touches and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's a really big thing in terms of the dribbling to open up space, because people need to understand, right? When gameplay is good, being able to take the small little intricate dribbles to open up space against an overpowered defensive AI is helpful. If your players are doing drag touches and you can't dribble the ball right away with your thumbstick like you can when the gameplay is very good, there's a huge misbalance with defensive AI being effective and you not being able to attack properly because your players literally cannot move properly, right? So that's a big situation. But I think what the biggest thing with attack, right, is there's always these three differences that EA needs to understand when they make gameplay. Okay, they need to understand these three things. It's the goalies, the defenders, and the finishing. You need to understand what makes all three of them balanced. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, let's just say, for instance, the finishing right now remain the same. Yeah, it's inconsistent, right? But some of your shots, when you green time them, they're pretty on target, like some of the times, right? Here's the thing. Here is the thing, okay? If your finishing was or is as it is right now, but your defensive AI isn't as effective, and your goalkeepers aren't as effective, then it's fine, right? Because the finishing is not overpowered against a manual defending. So be it. You know what I'm saying? The meta right now is that you have defensive AI that's overpowered, finishing that's pretty inconsistent. Even if you green time it, sometimes it doesn't really hit the target that well unless you have like really, really good players, right? And I think green shooting is dumb, but they're probably going to keep it in the game. So we have to take into consideration these are the types of mechanics that EA are probably going to keep in the game. So if you're not using time finishing, you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage because I don't think they're ever going to change that feature, in my opinion, right? Manual goalkeeping, I could see them removing, maybe, potentially, but the green time shots, I don't know if they will. So that's something to take into consideration. Your finishing is inconsistent, your defensive AI is overpowered, and your goalkeepers are effective. Those three things cannot be a thing, right? That balance should never happen because people could score crosses, people could score deflections, people could score near post corners, people could score a lot of really, really bad goals. So if you actually work the space and get into a 1v1 position, this blue screen just came out of nowhere. If you get into a 1v1 position, right, in this meta currently, a regular driven shot from this angle, right, regular shot, a finesse shot when you're facing from this angle, coming from downwards, going this way, should be a goal. If you're with Lionel Messi on the top side and he's aiming with his left side, if he hits a finesse shot to the other side, but he's alone in just a little bit in the middle area of the 18-yard box, it should be a goal, right? The finishing from white finishes, from regular finishes, should be good from good angles in this game. You shouldn't have to green time it. Green timing a shot is not the skilled part of FIFA, EA. The skilled part of FIFA is breaking down the defense. Breaking down someone's defense is the skill in FIFA, okay? If a defensive AI is overpowered, I would even take into consideration people scoring from this angle because of how effective it is. If you want defensive AI to remain as it is right now, because you wanna compensate for the certain people in the community that, you know, they don't have hands, but it is what it is. You want to compensate for them? Let's go. We'll, you know, give them defensive AI. But your finishing from good angles especially needs to be consistent even when you don't green time it. Even when you don't green time it. Because, like I said, the skill is passing the defense. Now, let's take it into other things into consideration. FIFA 18's gameplay, right? FIFA 18's gameplay. People were talking about driven shots being overpowered. Here was the thing with driven shots. Against the David De Gea, driven shots were not effective enough because driven shots, here's the problem that FIFA always has, okay? They never have different ways of scoring, right? Maybe this year they kind of do, but they're inconsistent in terms of whether or not they go in. Because to be honest, you can do a driven shot if you green time it. You can do a finesse shot if you're inside the box if you green time it. Because those two are RNG if you white. If you do a regular shot with those two, it will be random. A regular B shot, it'll hit the target every single time. And not the target, but it'll hit the general area of where you're hitting it. So just a regular B shot. But in FIFA 18's gameplay, the only way to score was a driven shot, right? I personally thought, right, if someone had the leg save trait, you didn't score them enough. Because, again, it was the only way to consistently score in the game. And from this angle, and not scoring the driven shot was the most annoying thing in the world, okay? Because defensive AI was also effective in FIFA 18 as well. So, you had to make the goalies even worse, right, than what it was, because you have a good defensive AI. If the goalie, understand this, guys, if the goalie is good, just as it was in FIFA 18 for those driven shots, right, when they had the leg save trait, if they're good from those driven shots, but you kept your FIFA 18, which is the best finishing in the game, I need to say this, FIFA 18 pre-patch finishing, if you kept FIFA 18 pre-patch finishing and the goalies were that effective and the defensive AI was that effective, you would have had a solid game last year. Even though the gameplay was still inconsistent, and inconsistent gameplay is garbage in your game, right? It would have been more playable because the finishing would have been very good. You could score with your fullbacks if you wanted to, okay? If the net is here and your fullback was aiming downwards like this, left foot, Benjamin Mendy, driven shot across goal, he would score it. He would score it when he had no pressure on him. So you would get rewarded for your fullback overcommitting in a video game concept, right? He would score that opportunity. So if you had better finishing and like FIFA 18 pre-patch finishing, and you had the goalies as it was and the defensive AI as it was, it wouldn't have been as bad. I thought the finishing just needed to be better, right? Maybe add more variation. Well, not variation, because FIFA 18 pre-patch finishing there was. You could do finesse shots, driven shots, power shots. They would go in and they would hit the target. The goalie was good, which was good, but the accuracy of your shots for FIFA 18 pre-patch, you actually got rewarded from good angles. That's why I really, really despise when people say it's your fault that the finishing is bad. No, it isn't. From good angles, right? In FIFA 18 pre-patch, you got rewarded for it. In this game, it is random. That cannot be the case. Manual defending. If you made manual defending a thing this year, which, guys, there is so many different specifications you have to take into consideration when it comes to manual defending, and I'll probably make another video to explain that as well, because then this video will be too long, right? Manual defending. If your defenders are manual and your goalie is effective and your finishing as it is right now, again, you wouldn't have a bad game, because if you hit green shots but you pass the defense quite often because the person actually has to defend themselves, right? So it wouldn't be as overpowered because your skill moves would be more effective, blah, 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 blah. And if you had the same finishing as it is right now and you practice on the green time shots, whatever, you would score more goals because it's manual defending. Here's why people hate your game right now, EA, okay? Because defensive AI is effective. When you do not score from good angles like this little closed angle, when you don't score those angles, which should not have to be a green time shot against this really effective defensive AI, that's infuriating because people can score, like I said, near post corners, crosses, deflections. Crosses, you have no skill in crosses. There is no skill in crosses. So be it. You don't want to, there's no mechanic you could think of to make it skilled. So be it. But when I get 1v1 from good angles, they need to be overpowered, right? That's the balance you need, because you'll reward people who actually break down someone's defense and do that consistently, right? And then, if you have to kind of counterattack or counterplay the bullshit that sometimes happens, whether it's the deflections or a corner, at least when you get that 1v1, you score it. That's important. That's why people hate your game right now, okay? That, and because everyone plays the same shit of dropping back and letting the defensive AI defend for them. Which, again, so be it, right? Take into consideration certain things, but the finishing needs to be better. Last but not least, what would I do to this game right now for a new meta? The biggest thing I would do is I would remove certain tactics and instructions. The depth of your team should not go below 4 or 5. I would even push it to like the default. Whatever the default is what you play, right? 5 and 5, that's what you would play. You would play 5 and 5. Drop back shouldn't be a tactic because of how your gameplay is right now, okay? If you had different mechanics, then sure. Drawback should not be a thing. It should be balanced or the other ones, right? But you should be allowed to put stay back while attacking for your fullbacks, stay back while attacking for your CDMs, and that is it. Center mids, cams, left mids, right mids all have to be a minimum of balanced and higher, right? In your current gameplay meta, in your current one, okay? If you do that, you will find more people enjoy your game, right? Because those tactics right now are just not balanced for your actual game mechanics, right? So you would have to remove certain tactics and certain instructions for people to enjoy the game more. So that way, it's just back and forth FIFA, right? So if you play with a 4-3-3 with one CDM, you would get rewarded for having extra attack because it's a balanced defense, balanced or whatever the hell you guys have. These are some of them are overpowered, but we'll keep them for consideration. The press after possession loss, the constant pressuring, so be it, right? But that drop back, no. As of right now, no. And then stay back while attacking for the CDM, stay back while attacking for the fullbacks. Boom, you can do whatever the hell you want with the other positions. That's it. That's how you would make your game balanced right now. Even with the finishing being as it is, missing green time shots, even right now, it would be better if you just remove those tactics and instructions. It's not going to happen, but because of the way the gameplay mechanics revolve around right now, that's what would need to be done. That's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you guys for tomorrow's video. Probably going to be talking about defensive AI and why I think they can't really push it to manual just yet because there's so many different things they need to fix. And we'll talk about that in another video. All right, dudes? Peace out, guys. Love you guys. Have a good one.